Hi, my name is Kimberly Brower, and today I'm going to be explaining to you a token economy system that I use in my classroom as a reward system for one of my current students. He is diagnosed with autism as well as ADHD. He is in a fourth grade inclusion classroom that has myself as a special education teacher, a general education teacher, as well as a paraprofessional that is assigned to him as his one on one. The classroom environment includes 21 students, including him, 8 of which have IEPs, all that have various diagnoses. He is on a fifth grade academic performance level based on state testing. It's an extremely high functioning. He is actually pulled from our classroom twice a week for a gifted and talented program that we run in our district. When he completes his classwork, he completes it 100% with accuracy. He catches on to concepts quickly, and oftentimes is already well ahead of his peers in those skills. He does lack social skills and doesn't really have the ability to interact with his peers properly. And a lot of the peers do take notice of that, and oftentimes don't really interact with him also. So he does receive counseling twice a week by our school psychologist in a group session with other peers that he has been going to these counselings with since the end of last year. So he's kind of familiar with them. So as I mentioned, when he completes his work, he does it excellently. However, the problem is he's not really completing his work. It is a struggle between myself, the other teacher in the room, as well as his paraprofessional to keep redirecting him and really trying to stay on top of him to complete his work. At times he does become frustrated because he feels like we're always singling him out. However, it's just really the redirection because he's wandering around the room, he's being disruptive to other students, he's kind of, bothering them while they're doing their work, he's asking them questions, he's in areas that he shouldn't be, he's on the Chromebook or he's listening to music, and it really disturbs the other students in the class. So when he was in kindergarten, as his previous IEP states, they did use a token economy system to help reduce behaviors during transitions, and it did work for him. So for his work, as per his IEP states, he does get modifications and gets the amount of questions asked to him reduced. So that was one of the things we actually spoke about together. You're going to get less amount of questions because you can do them accurately, so there's no reason for us to keep having you repeat them. However, we just had to make sure you're going to do those questions. So together we came up with a system where I explained that if he completed, at first it was 5 problems, he would get a reward of his choice. In the beginning, his paraprofessional helped kind of guide him in placing in his reward. So he asked if he can have superhero tokens because he's really into superheroes right now. He didn't want any pictures because he's more mature and he feels like he didn't want the other students to see it. So he also asked if we could change it over time if he changes his mind and his interests change. We also chose rewards together, and over time he has added to them. Free choice is kind of if there's something in the moment he hasn't thought of, and as long as it's appropriate, he is able to complete that reward, but we do have to discuss it prior to it becoming his choice for the day. So as I mentioned, we originally started out with only having to complete 5 problems, and then he got his reward. However, we started to see that he was still distracting his peers. He was playing within his area, but then he kind of got distracted, or I guess he lost interest in it and then started to do other things in the room. So then we decided that we would up it to 10 questions because how it works is his reward, he's allowed to partake in the reward from the moment he hands me this, as well as the work that he's completing from that moment until the end of the period. So he could finish his work in 10 minutes, which at time he does, and then still have another 25 minutes to complete his activity. So when we went up to 10 questions, it took him a little longer. It took him about 20 minutes, so therefore only giving him about 20 minutes in the activity, not much time to really get bored with it and have to go, wander around the classroom or interrupt his other peers. So, as I mentioned, we used to have the paraprofessional kind of guide him after he completed a problem. Oh, great job, a lot of reinforcement. She would give him 1, and we did this for a little while. And then after we saw that he kind of was able to start doing it on his own as she guided him at first, we waited till he was able to do all 5, get his reward on his own before we upped it to 10, because then again, he would do his 5, she would kind of guide him towards that additional 5, and then as time goes on, he's now just starting to independently place all 10 by himself without needing, a lot of redirection. He does it still fairly quickly, but he's getting something that he desires. He feels the independence. He's still been building on the independence, and he's, like I said, he's still adding to rewards. So this is still motivating him because it was more of him creating it on his own, me giving him the idea of why we're going to use it, but him being able to fully come up with the idea, which he loves. He loves the independence, and we're hoping that over time, either we've discussed it as a team that either we're going to add maybe 5 more questions to kind of, lessen the amount of time that he plays, or we've decided that maybe we can figure out a way to implement this over 2 subject periods, so he's not playing all of the time or not partaking in the activity all the time. He kind of has to wait in between classroom periods. And this it seems to benefit him. It's been benefiting him. He's no longer failing. Has a high A+ in all of his classes. He's extremely proud of himself. He does feel that independence. He kind of feels like other students in the class in the moment are interested in superheroes also, so he's kind of building that skill to be able to talk about them. It might just be, oh, hey, look, I got a new Superman or I got a new Hulk token, but it's still something that he's feeling more comfortable to talk about. And mainly, like I said, so he's building his independent skills. He is completing his work and getting great grades. He's still getting to get activities that he wants to do. And he's just really building overall with the token system. So it seems to be working really well and benefiting him in major ways. And hopefully it keeps up.